I'll start record now. So we're gonna deal with the SOQL and SOSL highlights. So then we're gonna do testing, test class for the triggers which we written. So this I want to do. So firstly, let's go one by one. So guys, what do you understand about SOQL? So this is individual topic we have to get in. So what do you understand about SQL? And any idea?
Some query language.
Yeah. So this is some Salesforce object query language. So I call it as Salesforce object query language. Okay, this is Salesforce object query language. So it is similar to like how SQL we had a generic SQL where a structured query language we have in either in database like Oracle or in either MySQL. It's something is similar only. Like you will have a select keyword, you will have from keyword, and then you have um, select fields from table name. Something we have no. So here select from objects we give. So from which object you are trying to choose. Then we have in operator. I think these all we have used in and or and then like operators also we have used, and then we have used bind variables also, isn't it? All these keywords we have used. Bind variables is something like is equal to colon. So this is also we have used. Using this query only, when using these statements, we have used something like this. Select ID, comma, name from object. This object could be, let's say, account. So where keyword. You can say bind variables. Okay, now overall, let's say this way. Okay, then where and use limit keyword also limit 100, limit 10, limit 1. So this couple of them we have used, right? Where ID. Guys, you have seen this query such something like this. Set element means you have array of records or something. From them, you're trying to query all the list of accounts. Now, either this is returning a single record on one record, basically one record or a multiple record. So we expect a return type of a SQL is single record or list of record. When I say single record, you're returning only one record. Where in that case, you just assign something like this account AC is equals to something like this, and then you put a semicolon here. Where expect account name limit one. So this is called a singleton record, singleton or single record. So where return type is single here. visiting, where account ID is equal to name from account limit 1. So this is returning only one record. In the same case, return type of SOQL is ultimate. Then we need to use collections. So when I'm using collections, then I put list of account, isn't it? Then I don't put any limit. I can query as many records. Make sure you are not querying 50k less than 50k records. So why we say this is you need to add filters to minimize the query count. We have to minimize the queries count, or else it will be a big problem there because if it loads too many records, then to process them it will be very difficult. Yes, you getting what I'm trying to say? Let's say you're getting 49,900 records. To process them, it will be difficult. So in that case, you need to use batches to process each and every chunk by chunk records. So ideally, so singleton record, a list of records, make sure they are not greater than 50,000 records, less than 50,000 records. So that is the governor limits we have. But anyway, why again you wanted to go to the 49,000 plus change of records? In that case, we also have a queries which we can return as a query locator. Something like query locator we have, which we use in batch class, batch apex, we use in batch apex, or we use database.query. So we use database.query, and inside we pass string. So with the square basis type of a SOQL query also you can write. With the string base of SOQL query also you can write it. So both query locator and database.query they use string in order to pass inside the queries. Look at this now. String means what? They accept string type. Okay, let's put this string type SOQL. Now let me write a simple example there. String query something. Here in the single quotes you can write the query. Select ID comma name from account. This query you just pass it here and then use in database query. You pass like this. So why we want to use this? If batch apexes, all the batch apex uses this type of things. In asynchronous Asynchronous batch apex uses query locator database.query which takes a string format. Even these guys uses even these guys uses return type as a what do you say a list on it is database.query locator whatever you use end of the day they also return a list of records. There's any questions? So how many ways we can write a SOQL queries if you think square braces singleton list of records this way and providing a string this way. The last one we have something like this. Integer or anything a string you can convert them. Let's say integer account count something like this you can have. Select count. If you just simply use a count from account, so this will return me an integer. Select count from account. This will return me an integer. Getting? So that should be associated to an integer number only. Though you're writing a query, we don't care. But the return type of this is a integer. So here return type is integer. So likewise, we can get return type as integer, string, decimal, whatever the way that we wanted it. So this was specific to one record, specific to list of records, specific to string you pass and then get a query basis, database or query like this, where generally they use in the batch apex or dynamic apex they use it. Either in the batch apex they use it or in the dynamic apex they use this. Otherwise, we are using the string like integer, string, decimal, whatever you can use it. Look at this account name. So this also you can use it. I select name from account. Hmm. So if I say dot and then if I say name, so then you're expecting out of this query only the name value. Let's say limit one. All this we expecting limit one. We can get an array of records and store into a string. Select name from account and limit one. Let's say some conditions you're putting limit one, or you're putting a where condition exactly you're giving the value of the record, whatever. Out of all this, you're returning dot name. So this queried record dot name will return to assigned to string account name. So this is a string return type. Return type is string. So like this, you can return the any currency field. Could be return type, could be um, you can get this way also. So basically, whatever you try to return, so that decimal something that you need to have here. Decimal, let's say property value. Hmm? Dot. You have created a currency field thing called as property value. Hmm? Some property custom field you have, which is currency field. So that field you're expecting. So when you query this, so it will get me the decimal value and then you store it here. So then based on that value, you are trying to do some express activity. So we have this many keywords and then these are the different types of return types we are having it and how effectively we're using it. SOQL inside the How SOQL can be effectively used in for loops. Writing inside the for loop is not the best practice. Writing inside the for loop is not best practice. So we don't do that. But writing the but you can write something here. Let's see here account. This is valid. I should not write this SOQL inside the for loop after the open braces, but I can write the SOQL here on the right hand side. I know this would instantly return me a list of records. Each and every records I can send over to the AC. Is you getting what I'm trying to say here? Are anyone there?
Yeah, Raj.
Okay, so what I'm trying to say is, so we have, so you can write a SOQL query inside the for loop like this. You can write the for loop like this. It's a valid one, but you should not write something inside the for loop where select ID command name instead of writing a for loop is not the accept. I mean, it is not acceptable. So this I wanted to add you guys because we have written so many times writing a list of records here and then using the account list here directly and then looping by one, which makes easy for us. But writing a SOQL code directly into the for loop and then getting them is also another way of easy. Now, when to use what if you think, unless and until something like this list your query one time and you are trying to use one or two places you try using it. So then for this and for some other operations also you require the same list. So then you can write separately like this and then you can use them for this for loop, another for loop, another for loop. You can use it. But I don't want to query and keep into a list and then again have to get it. Okay, only for this for loop you're using it. Directly write a such query and then get the collections here and then do the job. So that you need not to require to write a separate ACK list and that ACK list you have to get it here as a variable and then you can proceed. So that is the two-step things. So write something like this when you're trying to use this list in upcoming methods and upcoming in some logic or for loops you're using it in the same method I'm saying. I think these are the key things. So we have a trailer batch for this SOQL and SOSL. So you can see the entry questions, the bulk of things you get it. SOQL and SOSL trailhead. So whatever you have said, so all these guys would have been saying the same. How to insert a record, a single record inside contact account, new contact. You can get as many fields inside there, and then you can start inserting it. So this is simple DML. Select name, phone from a contact where department is equal to specialist. So this I think this is all we got to know. How to write a where clauses. SOSL, I'll let you know. Guys, we've used normal queries, subqueries also we've used in our logics, right? Queries and subqueries. Like traverse from parent to child. Traverse from child to parent. What is this? Traverse from parent to child. Traverse from, see, parent to child always will be subquery type. So we will be using here subqueries. What is a subquery? For example, select name, account number, something. I think this is well written. Subqueries. Come on. Then we write something like select again, last name from contacts. You need to always have a plural variable here. Select name, account number, comma, select name from contacts from account. So what do you mean by this? So you are trying to get each account's list of contacts. So this is what coming from parent to child, where we use a subqueries like this. Is getting traversing from parent to child, where we use a subqueries like this. Okay, this is a standard object you say. Now how do you do for a custom object if you ask me? For a custom object, similar example, select, even they also will have name, and let's say some custom table you think. Select again their name you're taking from whatever the object name you have, no? Let's say claims. Claims is the object if you think. Claims and underscore R. So R is the one we'll be using it. Why? Any custom object we don't have a plural variable. So if they are having underscore C, so you don't mention C, you mention R. Why? Because they are the relationship field which is helping out to query the subchild records. Ideally, the for a claim object name would be like this: claim underscore C. Look at this. I'm writing a plural form of yes and then getting the R as a relationship. These are the custom object for. Is getting same for relationship custom object would be this way. Then whatever you can write some accounts. So when I'm talking about queries and subqueries of course we've used in the parent to child. A normal query we know that how do we write from trans from child to parent. So child to parent is always the easy stuff when we do it. Select name, account, not account number, account dot site. You are in a child object contact. From this contact, you are trying to bring the last name you think. An account is the parent record. There now account number you're getting it, account sent you're getting it. This is going from child to parent. You getting? This is going from child to parent. The same way, if we want to do for the custom object, so we do select name, mm, underscore r dot. Okay. So you're going from child to parent, right? Um, I'm talking completely about the custom object. Completely about the custom object. So here, child is a custom object. Even the parent is also custom object. You think so? Claim r dot. For a claims, who is the child record? Let's say so. Payment is a child object. Claim is your parent record, and their parent records claim name you're getting and amount name you're getting. So custom object. Who is the parent here? I treat the parent as claim, and child is payment. Guys, you getting? I'm making sure here my child is also custom object. My parent is also custom object. So in that case, how do we query here? So go to a child record called as payment. From there, you're traversing to all the way to your parent called as claim, and so guys, you're able to see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So are you able to make it out, guys? Like we are trying to traverse from parent to child to parent. So when you want to do from child to parent, you can go up to any child to parent. You can go up to 5 levels. It is common for the customer. It is common for standard also. But any subqueries you can travel from parent to child. Here it is only one level. Select name, account number, select last name, context. Again, you cannot have another subquery here. You guys getting? Another subqueries you can't have here. Saying that select. No, this is not possible. Only one level you can do a parent child subquery. Do not expect to have child of a child from a parent to trying to do it. No, it is not possible. I can get this context child. I cannot get the context another child. No, that is not possible. In traversing from parent to child, only one level. You can go down. Here, from a child to parent, I can go up to 5 levels top. So let's say you're trying to do from contact. Um, let's say any other custom object, payments, claims, contacts to accounts, and accounts to owner. So like this, up to 5 levels you can do from child object if you think. Their 5 levels could be from custom to standard to whatever it is, standard to standard to standard, or purely custom to 5 levels. It is all their wish. It is all their wish. They are trying to do traverse from that all the way from a child to parent. So by this way, so we are able to get an idea of traversing, how to use in for loops, and how to use the proper return type. Sometimes if you use in asynchronous batches, you are using database locators and singleton records, list of records, all that we have an idea. So if you don't put anything and simply you type as map, and then if you say ID, comma, some let's say account, still the map account can have this. Select ID, comma, name from account. You can do so also what happens? ID would be automatically will sit here, and the each and every account record will sit here. So like that, thousands of records you can set it here. Unique ID, unique account record. So that way, you can use it map. Or you're querying like this map, or you're querying like this, or you're querying like this list of records, and then you wanted to put into map, but don't want to query like this. Still, you can do. You can convert. You can convert list to map. How? There's a method called as put all. There's a method called put all. So we use map dot put all, and you pass the list variable whatever you have here. Let's say map I'm defining like this. Basically, you are trying to instantiate a map, and there's a method called as put all. So whatever the list you have, we are putting it here, and the result is also the same. Hmm? Either direct query to map, direct query to map, or convert from list to map. Anything is fine. Both will have ID and account of the each record will be split like this. So by this way we understanding. Normally list also we can query. Using a map also we can assign the value, or converting a complete list to a map also we can do it. Using a put all operator, no, what is it? A method. We'll convert from list to ID to map. Whatever the list that you queried, they will surely have an ID of the record, and each record associated to that ID. So that has been added to the account. Yeah, by this way I think we have understood about SOQL. So few things we have SQL functions, something like this we have. In this functions, what to do is we try to find the aggregates. I think yesterday I have given an assignments. So we have to use aggregates like say sum, min, max, all these that you can use. So like say count, what else? Count of a field name we pass it inside. So these are the aggregate functions where you also call as SOQL functions. So where for these aggregate results we use it. For example, I would write a simple formula here. A formula. Select select some value of a decimal. It's a property value which you had here. When did it do that? Select sum. You're trying to do select some of the property value from the account where group by property. So we do this. So whatever we have in group by all the accounts, so there some value would be returning to us, and this result would be stored in aggregate result, and this result would be stored in aggregate result. So this is how we try to use socket functions. The same way I can use sum here, minimum here, maximum here. I can say count of the field also I can get it. Anyway, count and count field name would return me in integers. So sum, min, max. So all these three guys would return me aggregate results. If it is single record, aggregate result. If it is array of record, aggregate results. So what it returns, each account, and their group by activity of all the sum values we get it. So for this we use sum. Same functions are used in roll-up summary. Standard Salesforce uses this function to roll up the property value. Now look up to do custom roll-up, use aggregate results to achieve them. You know? So a general Salesforce lookup, sorry, roll-up activity, Salesforce at the background, they're using the same options. If you wanted to write a normal program with this, then of course, you have someone has to do this way. See, they do not require at all. Go to master object and create roll-up summary. But here we use aggregate for custom roll-up. So this, with the help of this aggregate results only, we do functions. That way we've talked about SQL functions also. Travis, how do you do from child to parent? And then how do you effectively use return types? And what are the different types of return types we have? So can you use these queries in query locator or a batch epics? Why? Because their limit is high. Limits are high. We can use them up to 50 million records in batch epics. 50 million records you can query and keep processing using the query locators. So that's the reason we use it. And that too, they will go in a string format. How you using database query, database locator also takes string query. So the return type is also list. Returns the list only. In this each list we are giving to a execute method, and then they have a batch size of 200 to run. So if millions of records, so divided by 200 size, you can get up to size of the 2000 limit size of a batch, 200 to 2000, 50 million records if you want to run. So it runs in a batch, 200, 200, 200 for a basic. If you define 2000, then 2000 records, it goes in a single batch. Otherwise, we have written list of records, and how do we convert them list to a map? And single turn record, and then keywords. Any question, guys, here in the circle? So now, if you just jump into any trailers and then check, you will have all this whatever we talked about. So they're talking about the basic. How do you do an SOQL SQL queries? So if you just jump into proper SQL query chapter, how to write SQL, how to write execute, how to do into query editor. So all they would have given example here. Basic SOQL syntax. So why select keyword? What is this? Everything they would talk. I think whatever we have used the conditions, all they would have also used. So where, some field name, and or. So these are the common things we can know. So order by, when use when we're using a functions, so that time we're using group by, right? So like that you can also have order by name. So filtering it out by name. Accessing variable via success. So this is something called as bind variable. Look at this. They call as bind here, and using a colon, they're using it. So querying related records. So basically getting the child records. See, all they also using this. What is it? Upload from here. So this trailer will help you out for the same concept what we've done with this. So you have got an idea, right? So the same thing, you quickly go and then complete this trailer batch. So that way it'll help you out, guys, to quickly have a SOQL trailer batch. Querying records and batching using SOQL for loops. So directly writing a SOQL query like this and utilizing it. Look at this. Account, ID, common name from whatever the loop they have, and then just simply they are doing some logic inside here. So we can use a for loop like this also. So that is what it says. So if you just go to Apex Basics and Database, you would get this as a sub batches. Now we have to always all the way to after jump to the SOSL queries, because after this we can write a simple test class at the mind of this. Okay, so I would just directly pitch into here and then say to you guys what is SOSL here. SOSL is a Salesforce object query language, object search language, and so what we're trying to do here. So we are trying to get a list of records. Let's put this way. So let me give first my explanation and then let's see there. So using this, we can try searching the records based on text pattern or whatever the pattern has been given. We don't search something based on the record is existing or not. We search based on the patterns. So SSL is something that we use effectively. Something like you try to use in the Google, right? Google search engine. So we don't care about what you're trying to Google it out. So we just something like this you type in and then you just searched. So something like this keyword if you have anywhere else in the world, so they bring to you. So that is something on pattern search. So these guys are doing a pattern search. Even SOSL is doing a pattern search. The same way how like some other Google or any other networks guys using. So they don't have ABC variable, but they are trying to find based on the text patterns. Now why they want to do is a text patterns in Salesforce. If you see, says yes, we have to query in one or more object. I want to search the same text pattern in one or more object. I don't care about the relationship. Still, so far, whatever we're doing is you have relationship with account, you have relationship with the claims payments. So you have relationship with that guy, this guy, child record. We are not dealing anything with the relationship here. SOSL is free from the relationship. So that means my parent record only will query, my child record only will query. No, you have liberty to query anyone using that some what is the text pattern that we give it here. So Google is not waiting only for to go check only on the specific records. It is jumping onto the world and then getting it to record to you. So same way, we also have an options to query one or more object, but we don't care about the relationship. Same text, I can get a query from the 10 objects, 15 objects, 20 objects, whatever the objects. Same text. Unless and in a SOQL, we have a relationship there. SOQL is typically for a relationship, a type of relationship related queries, like from associate contacts account or from a custom object to another parent account or their child account. Something that all these guys have a relationship. We're connected from one to another. But a SOSL object which you're expecting need not to have a relationship at all. I can go say that, hey, find this text in all these objects. Get me the result. That also can be done. Now, what this as a return type is, since you are trying to query in one or more objects, we have a return type of, they're not only having just list of records they're getting, so they're getting list of list test objects they're getting. So why I have to say list of list test object? You search a pattern, it is one pattern, and you're trying to query in as many objects. So I generally understand here one simple value can be getting for all as many list of records, as many list of objects basically, not list of records. You are trying to contain array of records with an array of objects. Get it? So the meaning here is account if you're trying to query. This itself is a, let's say this itself has 1,000 records. And again, you're trying to do a contact record. This itself is as 500 records. Firstly, these guys individually they are having this much list of records. And we are querying in one or more no objects, then this also will become a list, right? Firstly, individually they are having a list of records, and you are trying to query in one or more objects. Is it? Let's say they are 100. So if you say that one simple text that you searched, let's say location color something Bangalore you searched, how many number of people were having residing in Bangalore? 1,000 people. Final contacts. 200 payment made. Claims are 500. So all these places Bangalore reference you think. So this is a text pattern that you have. This is the text pattern that you're searching here. In all which are the objects you're searching in account, contacts, payments, claims. Now, when you search with these many objects, they themselves objects category itself is a list, and each object is having 10,000, I mean 1,000 records. So again, individually they also having a list. So that's the reason the return type of results we say it as list of list is subjects. A subject is actually a list, which is the this a subject account content itself is a subject list, and their respective list of records. So only list of list is subjects. If you see here, um, it's also just list of list is subject. Now look at this. So this is a pattern search they're doing it. So here the difference what you can see, they say that you can query in one object, I can query in multiple objects. So that is what they say. And something like this, they try to insert the record and trying to find a pattern like SFDC. So one simple SFDC if I give, wherever the SFDC is referenced, all I'll get it. This is simple search list they're having it. Find a list of lists objects search list in SFDC in all fields, returning account name, contact, first name, last name. Look at this. What does it says? Go find the SFDC key term in all fields returning account contact. Now let's elaborate on what is this all is talking about. List of list subjects we know. I've just given example contact account or payment. Individually they are list of objects. And again each object is getting list of records. Now I told you go find the Bangalore as a text. Now this guy is saying go find the SFDC as a text in all fields. What do you mean by all fields? So all fields in the sense in all fields. So what are the fields I can search with? Any field which is of text based, the data type is text, and the data type is email, and if you have phone numbers, see text, email, phone. Only this type of data types. so they can search. In on fields, if I say whoever is having text data type, whoever is having email data type, whoever is having phone number, something if they matches, so they will all go search in there. In all fields, I say SFDC. SFDC can be searched in all the text data types, in all the email, in all the phone, whatever they try to search. So that is what in all fields it means. Returning. Returning in the sense this is a keyword from which are the objects you are trying to return. Account, contact. Tomorrow account and contact I don't have a relationship with the claims. And this all these guys I don't have a relationship with feedback. Any object without relationship also we can bring them here. But unless an SQL, SOSL, sorry SOQL, SOQL we say. So only the related objects you can get the results there. That is a pain point there. Now, if I try to query like this, because so far I have not queried anywhere, so let me just query this and show you guys. Control E. Look at this search list is the one which we have, and let me try to debug this search list. System.debug. I just want simply search list. So what you're doing is go find the SFDC as a text and then return in the contact and account whatever you have. But ideally we have to see do any record we have in SFDC name text. But I think we have test something in this couple of them. Test account we have. So I'm gonna write it as do you find any keyword called text? Find it, find them. So in the instead of this I'll give test. Test is we found in the account. Maybe if you found in the contact even they will be bring up. Let me execute this. So go find the name. Why they say name? Name is a text field. First name, last name is a text field. So basically, so they are trying to find in all the values of text fields. So for the account, test account, another account we have, another test account we have. In a contact also we have test contact. Look at this, so many records they have. Is getting now. Hey boss, this guy was taking as individual item. This search list is holding all the collective records. Now I wanted to break them individually. Hmm. You want to break them individually? Just get this way. List of contacts, con list. Then search list. First in the zeroth index, who is there? Account is there. In the index one, contact is there. Search list of the index one, who is standing? Contact is standing. Basically, I'm segregating the results. Search list of zeroth index, who is standing? Account is standing. Like tomorrow, if you have any other object, the next object, they are in two. Which is the standing position? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever the position they have in. So the real time use case example is this. I search the best keyword, so it is trying to find in all the objects. Is getting search the best keyword. It is trying to find in all the objects. So this itself is a SOSL, searching across the objects, irrespective of their relationship or not. The same which I am doing now, searching the text keyword, and I put account name, contact name, what are the fields I have. Now I'm just getting individually. In the zeroth index, why I'm saying zeroth index? Because I know account is first one, second is the contact one. If I get them search list of zero, because this is list of list, no. If I say this list of zeroth index get me, you're getting me an account. You're getting me this. Let's see whether this is achievable or not. So what I'm trying to say is act list here. Look at this. Hmm. So now we were able to split account. Hey, this many accounts we have, and this many contacts we have. Guys, getting? Now you can have a for loop like this and get them to print also. Uh, if you don't want to get something like this, you can directly have a for loop. In the for loop, you can directly have an account, and then AC is equal to search results of 0, it's an account, and then you can say that open and close braces, system.debug, whatever you have. You can print each and individual account record. Account name. Or simply put AC. Hmm? But doing this way, you will get all the each and every account record and then followed by the count record. If you don't want this, if you don't want this, you can something get like this. Hmm? So it is contact here, and its index is 1 here, and it's 0. So now if you try to print, you can get individual terms of records.
What was the error? Just came up.
Let me check. Invalid operable expected. So they're expecting to have a S object because so we try to query here as a S object. How can you put it in an account? So that is their concern. No problem. See, LHS is equal to RHS. In the RHS, if you're trying to have a list of S object of type account, then still S object only you have to query here. In this case, how it was doing is you are trying to get a list of records which is type of an account. I can easily assign it. Then I were able to use the act list. Either use this that way or just get to this way. So all the account records you can see, all the contact records you can see. So this is how we try to process and then they display it here. So the moment I say search the best, so it tries to go find if all the records are found. Okay, 3 records found. So they would be displaying like this. 3 account records and their ID and their record type, whatever it is. So they try to display in the UI. In UI, you fill it in a data table. Properly, the values would be displayed here. So you are doing from a background, so that's the reason you're seeing like this. So SOSL, you are trying to do a search pattern, which is basically a text search button. It tries to find the exact match of the text and then brings up the value. So this SOSL could be used in the Chinese for Chinese search, for Japanese search, whatever, because their languages are too difficult to understand. So basically, whatever you written, I will find the pattern. So finding a pattern is how exactly it is. It is pretty easy. It'll go find the patterns and come back. And this search is used for universally to this whole OR. Why? Because we don't care about the relationship. Whatever the patterns are given, I go search them and get them. Any questions here? Yes, Ritman, any questions you have? Hello.
No, Raj, I'm good.
Okay. So this will paste it over here. And then now looking at your SSL queries. So find some keyword in returning. So they have explained what is that in all fields, name fields, email fields, phone fields. Look at this. So these are the search group patterns we have. And what is the single words they do? What is the phrases they do? So all these patterns are given. So if you want to find one or more characters after this extremes, so you can use star. You can find some phone numbers. You can find some text words. So how to do it? All they have given here. And then okay, look at this. They are typecasting it and then doing it. I didn't do typecast also because you have to say the return of the record. The zeroth elements record comes and sits here. First element comes and sits here. Yes, of course. So look at this. They also doing the same way. But what change I did it is I have taken. I did not do a typecast and a store of records and then I didn't process like this. I went on directly using this here and I put a subject here. If that is also possible. And account list directly have mapped to the search list of zeroth index directly to that particular record. Multiple ways you can do it. Look at this. I didn't do any search list. I didn't do any typecast here. I know this written is rough type of account. I can put it here. If any issues, it will throw back. It didn't throw any issues. Why? Because it is returning me account of contact records. I could have used here, but I directly used again. I don't want to do typecast and waste my time. So directly I can use it also here, but you will get a subject values. Why? Because so this is of type a subject. If for a ref records, same thing you have to do at singleton. How we are writing a contact list, contact here. Same way, search list is of a subject type. So a subject type only have to give it. Why? Because see, look at this. So this is you're getting a subject here. How can we expect something a change in here? If you have typecasted and you want to proceed, then yes, this is the way. You want to typecast and proceed, yes. I think this is not required. Directly can put it here. And I'm not using this to do stuff. Directly also can use it. I think this is what they're trying to talk about here. Now, so with this help, you can quickly go and finish this batch also because while talking about SOSL, this is the max we can talk about. So that's the reason it's much there. Sell trailer syllabus also. So now, so this you're going to use it for SOSL test class for triggers. Sometime back we written a test class. I understand, but we're going to write a test class for the trigger helper which we written. So this is a trigger helper we have. So we need to cover the triggers at least minimum percentage, only then we can cover them. So how to write a test class? We know that. Go to the file new public class account trigger test, and then we can make them as private also, but we cannot save them. It won't allow us to save because unless and until this particular classes at the rate is test is mentioned, you cannot do any stuff. The moment the error went off and the run test button been enabled to us, is getting so only test class can be private because we don't use these classes. Again, so private static you can have static void test method name, because generally they expect to not return anything at the rate is test. So hereafter they're using at the rate is test. So in test classes we had a test method something we had, but all they've eliminated. Simply they're having at the rate is test. So what we're trying to do here is first we are trying to pass a method here. What is the method that we're trying to use? Before insert. What before insert is accepting? It is accepting a list of account. Right? So Control C. What is before in this method we are trying to deal with before insert. Helper dot before insert. You need to send some list of records here. Okay? According to this method, in this helper class, you are trying to send a list of accounts. To do this activity, either we have to try to insert a list of records, either you have to try to insert list of records, or simply assign the list of records here. You can directly insert here also, like someone account AC is equal to new count. Okay, account some AC record. So like this, I insert accounts and add them to a list. Because in this before insert, you're expecting trigger.new, correct? So the trigger.new is expecting list of records. So that way, list of account insert list. So what I'm trying to do here, so you are trying to add, you have instantiated list of account variables. To that list you are added here. And then finally you are inserting the that list, which is the array of list which you got it. So by this way you are trying to insert the, it can be one record or not one or more record. So this one or more record, whatever you inserted, you're sending it here. So replicating or calling the before insert trigger method. Okay. Class name dot method name. What is the list we're sending? List of new records we're sending it here. Act record dot name. Account name we sent. Act record dot add insert list. Semicolon here. Okay. So that way we try to call a single method. So for this, what I need to have is when you try to do some activity like this, it's best case to have test dot start test. So why we do is to in order to bypass the or skip the limits, we use this stage or start test, stage or stop test. Let's say this you are trying to do 1,000 queries you are trying to insert, 1,000 records you are trying to insert. Again, after this immediately you are trying to do some other XYZ activity, we may insert again 1,000 record or maybe 1,000 10,000 record is the maximum. There you are written. In this case, you are utilizing all the 9,999. After this, again, if you try to do 50 more records, it will fail because it says, was 10,000 is the limit already you have inserted with. But using a start test and stop test, wrapping up with them, what happens is, so the moment you are okay, 9,000 records to change your run, okay, we're done. You come outside of this again, you'll have fresh 10,000 records to be done with. Why? Because the limits here it has been lapsed, and again it is rearranging the limits. So again you can start with. So basically, I'm not calculating your transactions of how much records you're done within a start test and stop test. So we eliminate those things. So basically, to um, bypass the governor limits, we use this start and stop test. So now I know for a simple method I've written, you can call them as a before insert test method also here. Test before insert method. So this is a method first we're trying to do an account trigger helper. So this is eventually testing our test class. So now I do a run test here. So test is pass. Look at this account manage helper. So why it is passing before insert is because so we are trying to call only this method and fetch nearest branch. So that particular value is going to be copied and you see this insert anyhow you are trying to use both the ways before insert or after insert is all same. We don't do any update options so far, so it's not calling any after update because we're trying to pass the map values here, old and new value, and so far only before insert it is passed. Let's say before update also we want to pass a list of records. So for that, better to have a different methods. So if you keep inserting the record data, so if you don't want to do, there's some other logic called as is test setup. In the setup, you try to insert one time and then you simply query the records here. So that is again a best way of doing it to create a test records. Or else you should have a trigger utilities, test utilities class. So if you call a simple method there, it will insert a list of records and it will send to you. So that is also another best approach. So even you just Google it out, trigger utilities, you will get a bunch of them. Not test utilities. Common test utility class for data creations. So we have a chapter for that also. All this I'll copy the link. How do you create test data? This all will help you out because we're talking about test creations. And completing them also would be nice enough. So creating a test data. So if you want to do a test data, say test data factory, they do it. So what they do is they try to create a list of accounts for you. You need to send the numbers, and if you want to create an opportunity, you're sending the opportunities. That's it. So based on that, they create a record for you, and they name it a separate class for you. Okay, let's create a test factory like this, and then utilize them. Test data factory. Copy it, and then. But in this case, create accounts. There's a simple methods are required. I don't want anything else. And I don't want any opportunities to be created for me because my logic is not that opportunity to be done with. So what you're returning, list of accounts you're returning it. Okay, good. So I don't want opportunity to be written on set it to me. Set opportunity is not required. So am I good? So what I'm gonna do is I just simply send the number of accounts how much you have to create. So this particular method will return me a list of account. Is getting normal method only. How we return the same it is. No change in this. Class name is written, static is written, list of account is written, method number is taking, and is using a traditional for loop to insert some test records. Is inserting it and is returning the same account. So this is all we have tried with the single approach, account to bulk approach, all that we have tried. So this is not a big deal to check with. Now what we do is test factory. I want to write all this stuff you think. So because already you know that you have written here. So why I'm keeping this is not to call this test factory dot. So this is a method we written. No? If I say 5 accounts, I'm gonna create 5 accounts. So that method will try to insert a test record. So this method will call 5 number will pass and will insert the 5 records and insert and then return the same. So what we are assuming here is this is inserting the 5 records and that is given to you and that you are passing here. Is it correct, right? So that way this particular test factory class is generating you a list of test records, so that is helping you to test for you. So this way if you do, so we call test factory as where all the sample data you can create in that particular class and you can utilize them, so that you need not to waste your time to create every time copy the same record to change. What it happens tomorrow, account name is now required field. If again some other field someone makes as a required field and that particular field is not added to this test classes, done. The test class will fail because while inserting a record of an account, another field is required field is that is missing. It will fail. But in this case, if you want to go change, you can directly go to change here. One more required field you can add it here because all the places we have just referenced the method, right? So doing change in one place it will help you out. Now in this way, I should go change in every place which are the required fields. How many methods I'll do that? So it is a crazy. So instead of that, that's the reason. So we have something like this, which makes easy job. It's a before insert, it's before update here. So what you're actually doing in a test class that you have to implement here. So that is what we see. In a trigger class, you have written a before insert, before update. What you're trying to pass triggered at new. So what it's doing, it can have a new record, it can have old records. So both it can have. Look at this. Now it is passing 51%. So we are able to cover before insert, we are able to cover before update. Now after update and before delete. So before delete is something that we are not called here. So we can call them if they have a contact records. If they don't have a contact records greater than 0, we are not deleting them. Even that we can do. Again, so before delete. Simply call them before delete. So what I'm going to do is I'm just trying to pass some sample data to each and every method so that it will try to execute. So before insert and where is it before delete? So before delete method is completely passed. What is missing after update? After updating, you're trying to update or insert new contacts. So that we have to do now. Now after update of an account, new and old map, if something is changed, so you are trying to do a new map here. So look at this. This is a little tricky. Now the last one is before. No, it's not before. It's after update. But this after update method, what takes doesn't take list. It takes after update. So this method, the method doesn't takes list. It takes a map. So as I said, you guys, so you can put a map here. Map of ID, comma count. Where I call as new map. Okay, let me call as old map. Old map dot put all. So I'm putting this answer list. Why? How do we convert from list to map? I said you right. So this is a scenario, right? Scenario where we use it. I've instantiated a map. I've whatever the test record which is created, I've put it here. Old map. For the new map, something I need to have a value which should be change of value. So what we do? What should we do? Because old map and new map, you are trying to do some change. Only then, okay, old value and new value got changed, so that I'll update the record. It says. Hmm, I don't do any change. Look at this what change of what will see the results there. I don't do any change. Look at the what changes we see there. One map, comma. How the triggers help us written? New map and one map. Okay. Hmm. So we have passed new map, old map. How? We inserted some few list of records that listed I converted to a maps. So assuming both the values I didn't do any change, both the same value, old map and new map, I'm passing to this after update. So if I run this test, let's see till where it covers. 81. So we know we just went on to the contact. This guy doesn't have any new contact. So it tried to create me a new contact relationship there. Fine. So the moment when it came here, account number not equal to old account number. So in the both the case, same account number it is. So that's the reason it didn't even come here. It's getting if your old account number and new account number is changed, only then I'll get inside and do some operation. So that's how we tested the test class. According to this scenario, your old number and new number is same. So that's the reason it is not getting inside at all. So we need to make sure that your one of the account list is changed of their respective account number. So what I do is I'm gonna put a for loop here because I want to do a change of these records. Insert list is an account only. Account ACC is equal to this. So AC dot account number I'm modifying here. Text account number I've changed here. So what all the list which came in and their respective account number have changed. And this is having a modified versions. This is having a modified versions of the list, whatever we have. And I can update this record here. So I can say this old account list New account list. New account list is what we're doing. We're trying to copy the value and making some change using the old account list. We're trying to modify a few things and add to the new list. So that means some changes there in this list, isn't it? So your old list has this, and the new list has this. For old map, whatever the record is inserted, it goes there. For a new map, some new modification which I change the account number, so that I'm putting it here. So without a new operator, you cannot instantiate new records. So I think we're good here. So old record you taken as old map, something you modified right now, which we assume it as new map. So both we are sending it. So now we should be able to cover that account old value and the new value. Is it? No, no problem. So let me update that record. I think it is still going the same. Map we have. Update. Mhm. This is now because I have updated the same the record. So before update, now no change. That means we just simply replicated the value. Old value and new value didn't have to change. So we have processed the old record and the process record which is went inside this. And then we modified something and we updated this. So that means your old value completely redundant and then you change this. So we are exactly replicating the scenario of if your account number is not equal to new number, and then I'm just going to the content I'm going to create the new records. So at the very beginning we don't have accounts, account related context. That's the reason we don't have account ready there mapped. It's okay. Look at this percentage we covered. Account helper is 94 percentage we covered here. So this is good for deployment. 75 above percentage if you have, you're good for deployment. So best things that we've used is triggers each and every method we went on, what is the requirement that we went on, and then we covered them, and that's how we got the results. So we will traditionally written some test factory to prepare some data for us, and those data we are sending it here to each records and we are passing them. There's any questions you have?
No.
Okay, so perfect then. I think based on our notes today, we were able to complete on this activity. What is this match? Okay, so this I'll update there. So what is my agenda is I think I've completed. So tomorrow I'll take a visual first page basic and then kick off on the visual first basic. How do you do insert or update records you see on the next day, tomorrow Saturday I think. So on Sunday, I think I would wind up the class because already we are into the closing state. Um, so where I'll give an idea of how a LWC component could be written. I'll show an example here and develop a component showing the UI. And so the moment to do that, then we'll also have a simple integration class called REST API. How do we invoke a service and how do you display the results? Even that we'll do it. So that way, all today's trends, LWC integration stuff, at least the basic, and the VF, and all the Apex classes, all we have been touched with. So though it is a classic development class, but still I wanted to showcase for you guys because you guys are looking for an interviews, might be helpful to you. And all the resource materials like Railets link, I'll send it to you. So for LWC or how do you prepare, how do you prepare for integrations, all that I'll send the list. It can still be useful to you guys. So now your task is to go, okay, now this is a test data. We have to do complete this test activity. This is the SOQL related stuff. I need to complete this you think. So all this you do, so your points will keep incrementing and then you also learn about the topics. So these are the basic things. If they ask an entry question still would be good enough to answer. So be confident with this. So nothing much different here. We're executing and checking them. It's not like we're skipping out them. And take the challenge. If you have any questions on the challenge, you can ask me out. See the saying, create an Apex class and that runs both context and leads based on a parameter. Now, try to create a class like this and then do a subject and expecting to have one number records like that. Okay, so if you have any questions, we'll come back, guys. Thank you all.
Thanks, Raj.
Thank you all.